Good morning, children. We are discussing about the useful microorganisms. In that, how the bacteria are going to help in maintaining the soil fertility. That we discussed yesterday. So there are, you know that the air contains 78% of nitrogen. So that nitrogen is not taken up by the plants. How the plants are going to take carbon dioxide and oxygen through stomata of the leaves, like that nitrogen cannot be taken by the plants even if it is present in air 78%. Okay, but the plants are badly in need of nitrogen. So how that nitrogen can be taken up by the plants, and what are the uses of nitrogen if we observe? So nitrogen is very much important for the plants for the development of chlorophyll pigment. Okay, so the green color to the leaves or plant pods is because of nitrogen, and that nitrogen, if it is there, we can observe the new leaves, flowers, fruits development and other parts we can observe, and it helps in repair work also. But nitrogen, it is present 78% in the air, that cannot be taken up by the plants. So how the plants are taking the nitrogen means with the help of microorganisms. Okay, so in that you learn about the bean family plants or legume plants. The root nodules are present in them, and the root nodules contain a type of bacteria called rhizobia. So that rhizobia is going to fix the atmospheric nitrogen in the root nodules in the form of salts of nitrogen, that is nitrates or nitrites. Okay, and those nitrates and nitrites are taken up by the plant for the growth and development, and the plant is giving shelter to the bacteria, that is rhizobia. Is it clear to you? So both organisms are getting benefit from each other. So that type of nutrition we call it as a symbiotic nutrition. Simply it is called as a symbiosis. Okay, all the bean family plants contain root nodules. Okay, where rhizobia bacteria is present, that bacteria is helping in maintaining the soil fertility by fixing atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, apart from that, some of the bacteria are present in the atmosphere, free living bacteria. So they are also going to help in converting that atmospheric nitrogen and providing that nitrogen to the plants like nostoc and anabaena. Okay, azotobacter, azospirillum. So they are going to provide nitrogen to the plants. Is it clear to you? Then now other uses of bacteria we will learn. Is it clear to you? So you learn that this bacteria are going to help in decomposing the dead plants or animals. Okay, so now some of the waste materials which are collected in our day-to-day life are going to be used by the plants. Is it clear to children? So in what way means that is in preparing compost. Preparing compost. So this compost is an example of natural fertilizer. Natural fertilizer which enriches the fertility of the soil. So how this compost is prepared? So for that what we have to do means we have to make a simple dugout in the earth. Okay, then all the waste materials which are collected in our day-to-day life like peel of vegetables, peel of fruits, then dry leaves, excrete of animals like cow or goat or sheep, or urinals of these animals also, and dry leaves, all that will be dumped in this dugout whichever is made in the soil, and it is covered with soil particles. Okay, so like that it will be done, and it is going to be covered for few months after sprinkling water. So after few months what is going to happen means the microorganisms, the bacteria and fungi whichever are present, they are going to help in decomposing the debris of peel of vegetables or fruits or other decomposing matter into compost. So in that way the compost is made. Is it clear to children? So this compost will be collected from the dugout made in the earth, and those compost will be added to the soil to provide nutrients. So how it is happening here? The decomposing bacteria or the detritus bacteria is acting on the materials which are dumped in this place, and they will be converted. The organic molecules are going to be converted to inorganic form, and when it is added to the soil in the form of compost, then the nutrients which are present in that will be provided to the soil, which helps in maintaining the fertility of the soil. Okay, the soil health will be maintained, or the soil health will be increased, so that the farmers can get good yield of the crops when the crops are raised in this field. Is it clear to children? So that is one use. Then apart from that, have you observed any time the bacteria which are helping in cleaning the sewage water? Okay, sewage means water, the waste which are collected in water. So day to day life, if we see, so all the drainage water, it is just released into the places which we call it as sewage water, and that is having too much of pollutants, and they are also getting just decomposed because of this bacteria. Okay, so in that one important example, you have to remember what it is means. When we are importing oil, crude oil especially, you know that crude oil, what for it is used? So crude oil is refined in oil refining centers, okay, where we are getting petroleum products. Is it clear to children? So crude oil is imported from other parts of the world. Okay, you know that Iran, Iraq or Saudi countries are going to export crude oil to the other parts of the world through waterways. Okay, through waterways in big steamers, we are going to get import the oil. What oil? Crude oil. So when the crude oil is imported, at that time what is going to happen means, by chance any accidents are there or any leakage is there, at that time the crude oil is going to be spilled on the waters. So it covers some thousands of kilometers in the water, which forms as a oil layer. Thin film of oil is formed on the seawater. So because of that, what is going to happen? It is destroying the ecosystem. In what way? The organisms which are living, you know that in oceanic water, million species of plants, animals are surviving, living there. So that is habitat for them. So because of this oil slick, what is happening means, the oxygen or the sunlight will not be provided to the animals, so that the animals are getting dying. Is it clear to children? That is the loss caused because of importing crude oil sometimes, not all the time. Is it clear to children? It is a pollution for the coastal regions. Is it clear to children? So to avoid that oil slick also, so that oil slick whichever is formed, as it is damaging the ecosystem, so that oil slick is also going to be eaten up by some microorganisms. Okay, microorganisms. So some bacteria are going to eat up that layer whichever is formed because of that oil slick. Then the areas, coastal areas are going to be preserved or kept in a proper way. Is it clear to children? Without any pollution. I hope you understood. So what is meant by oil slick, children? When crude oil is imported from other parts of the world through waterways, because of some leakage of oil tankers, it is going to be spilling on the water, which forms as a thin or a film of water. Okay, that film of oil is not allowing any oxygen or sunlight for the other organisms which are living. So that layer whichever is formed because of oil is called as a oil slick. Oil slick. Oil slick. Okay, which is not good for the organisms which are living in water. So they are going to be killed because of not availability of oxygen or sunlight. So this oil slick is cleaned because of some microorganisms, especially some bacteria are there. They are going to help in eating away this oil slick so that the water will be preserved, or water in the oceans will be kept clean so that the organisms can survive there. Then other one is said to be even in our day-to-day life also, sewage treatment plant if you go. So in 7th class you learned about the water sewage plant. So you learned about sludge, is it not, children? So how the sludge is removed, all that points you have learned. So in that the bacteria are added where they are going to remove the oily content of it, and then only after removing the impurities that water will be released into the nearby water bodies. Like that you learned. So here in the sewage treatment also the microorganisms are very much useful. Is it clear to children? Then next one is said to be here another use is said to be of microorganisms is they are used in large scale in different ways in our day-to-day life, like in the preparation of fermented products, then maintaining soil fertility or compost preparation, then cleaning up the earth surface. Is it clear to children? So all preparing vaccines or other antibiotics. So they are all because of useful microorganisms. Is it clear to children? Then next one here, what in what way? So the earth is not seen with dead bodies of plants or animals, especially dead organisms are not seen because of some useful microorganisms. So the detritus bacteria and fungi, they are going to act on the dead bodies of plants or animals. Suppose if any natural calamities are there, okay, we observe so many dead bodies of, like floods if we see, or earthquakes if we see, that particular area we are going to observe dead bodies of plants or animals or human beings like. So after few months we are not going to see them. Is it not, children? That area will be kept clean. Why? Because of the action of microorganisms. So decomposing bacteria or fungi will act on these dead organisms, and they are going to keep the earth surface very much clean. So imagine once if microorganisms are not there, the entire earth will be seen with dead bodies of plants or animals or other organisms. Is it not, children? So but is it happening there like that? So the earth's surface is kept very much clean because of natural scavengers, like natural organisms, microorganisms which are going to help in decomposing action of dead organisms. So in that way you learn about the uses of microorganisms. Some of the uses which we are getting from these microorganisms we learned. So now that is one side of the coin. So other side of the coin, if we observe, microorganisms are responsible for diseases. Okay, so then we call them as enemies. So first all the steps what we have learned, they are acting as friends to us. So now we are going to learn that microorganisms as enemies. Means what? Harmful microorganisms. Harmful microorganisms. Harmful microorganisms means we are getting diseases because of some microorganisms. Is it clear to you? So now you have to remember some points here. What are they? Means the disease causing microorganisms. Disease causing microorganisms. So what do we call them? Disease causing microorganisms, or the disease, organisms which are responsible for diseases in other organisms. Okay. So this disease causing microorganisms are called as microorganisms or any other organism. If they are responsible for cause of disease, they are called as pathogens. Very important. Is it clear to you? what do you mean by pathogens? The disease causing organisms are called as a pathogens. Is it clear to children? So the pathogens are mostly microorganisms, some kind of microarthropods also, viruses, bacteria, fungi, and protozoans are acting as pathogens here. So the pathogens are present everywhere, that you know. So the pathogens are going to be responsible for diseases, and they are going to be carried from one person to another person through vectors. So what are vectors here? The disease carrying agents. Okay, the pathogens are carried from one person to another person through this organisms only. Vectors are also organisms through which the pathogens are carried. So they are called as vectors. Like insects you can take. Okay, insects or other means are also there. Here we are talking about insects. Like malarial parasite is a pathogen which is responsible for malaria disease. It is transmitted from infected patient or infected person to the healthy person through mosquito bite. Okay, so here that malaria is a disease, a type of fever which is caused by a pathogen called Plasmodium. So Plasmodium is a malarial parasite. It is going to be carried from person to person through the vector called that is female Anopheles mosquito. Is it clear to you? So that female Anopheles mosquito is responsible for carrying malarial parasite from person to person. Is it clear to children? So like that here pathogens are said to be disease causing organisms, and the causative organisms are going to be carried from person to person through the vectors. So here malaria is caused by a parasite which is a protozoan parasite. It belongs to protozoa phylum, that is Plasmodium, through female Anopheles mosquito. So this female Anopheles mosquito is acting as a vector. Is it clear to you? So there are so many diseases which are spreading from person to person through vectors. So not only through this vector children, but the pathogens are going to be carried from person to person through air, water, or air, water or food, sometimes through physical contact. Is it not children? So if we take contaminated water, so we suffer from cholera. Is it not? Or if we are taking food whichever is contaminated, is it clear to you? Cholera and typhoid through drinking contaminated water. Is it clear to you? So like that here food, water or air, when we are breathing in some diseases like you can take corona. So that is going to be spreading from person to person through air. Then physical contact, scabies is a skin disease, or other viral diseases sometimes through physical contact also, like chicken pox. If we are living with the persons, then we will get then conjunctivitis, Madras eye infection we call. So if one student gets that in the class, others also will be getting. Is it not? So directly they are going to be spreading from person to person. So such type of diseases which are spread from person to person are called as communicable diseases. Communicable diseases. So what do we mean by communicable diseases? If the diseases are spreading in the community through drinking contaminated water or food or through physical contact or through the vectors, then they are called as communicable diseases. So give some examples of communicable disease. So cholera, typhoid. Suppose if you go to if you go to attend a function, okay, so through food or water, if the food or water whichever is served, if it is contaminated, then some group of people they are going to suffer from vomitings or motions. We will be observing that one, such type of things. So that is because of drinking contaminated water or through taking contaminated food. Is it clear to children? So such type of diseases are called as communicable diseases, and they are spreading from person to person through the things which are used by the infected persons. Is it clear to children? So common cold, conjunctivitis, then tuberculosis, flu, all these are examples of communicable diseases. So I hope you understood the vectors, pathogens, communicable diseases. Is it clear to children? So just now you learned that malaria is a disease caused because of a protozoan parasite called Plasmodium, and the disease is spreading from person to person through female Anopheles mosquito. So like that we learned, is it not? So the entire history of malarial parasite, how it is reproducing, and how the disease is spreading. The history of malarial disease is studied by a doctor, British doctor, Dr. Ronald Ross. Okay, so Dr. Ronald Ross was a British doctor. He worked at the time before independence. He worked in Hyderabad. In Secunderabad, Ronald Ross was living there. So he was studying about the life cycle of a malarial parasite. So he came to know that malarial parasite is going to be transmitted or spreading through mosquitoes. Which mosquito? Female Anopheles mosquito. Female Anopheles mosquito. So this female Anopheles mosquito is responsible for the transmission of disease, and that is spreading of a disease. Okay, he studied about the life cycle of mosquitoes, and he observed where these mosquitoes are going to breed, then how they are responsible for transmitting the disease, and the life cycle of malarial parasite also. So half of the life cycle of malarial parasite will be completed in the intestines of mosquito, and when that infected mosquito bites a person, so the malarial parasite whichever is present in the mosquito's body will enter into the healthy persons, and then the malarial parasite from mosquito, it will enter into the human body. It reaches blood, and then from blood it stays for certain period of time, and it goes to the liver cells, where it is getting damage to liver cells as well as blood cells, and then we suffer from, whenever that parasite is entering into the blood, we get fever with chills, high temperature, severe headache. So that is called as malarial fever. Okay, so malarial fever, if the people are suffering, so they get too much of shivers. So even if we cover our body with many blankets also, we will be shivering only. That much chills we can observe, and severe headache, vomiting sensation, and body pains, high fever. So that is malarial fever. So now that he came to know that mosquitoes are responsible, female mosquitoes are responsible for malarial fever. So now to control malaria, what can be done? What can be done? To control malaria in a community, we have to control mosquito population. Is it not, children? So now what we have to do? So he gave all that. So to control mosquitoes, what we have to do means, first to control malaria disease, we have to control mosquito population. mosquito population. How this mosquito population is controlled? So you know that the mosquitoes are going to breed on the stagnated water. Wherever that water is stagnated, stay there on the roads or in our home. Schoolers will be there, or any other old pots will be there. So if you are keeping them as it is, so the water during the rainy season, the water is filled in that, and after few days the that mosquitoes are going to breed there. Water is needed for the mosquitoes to breed. Is it clear to children? So that stagnated water is needed for the mosquitoes to breed. So what we have to do to control mosquito population? Spray kerosene. Spray kerosene on stagnated water. So that what will happen? It forms a thin layer and the larva gets suffocated. So the larva will be killed. It is easy to kill larva than the adult mosquitoes. Then do not allow stagnated water. Do not allow water to be stagnated. Water to be stagnated. So we are not supposed to allow water to stagnate. Is it clear to you? And if any leftover what is that coconut shells, if they are there, or old pots are there, or tires are there, so we have to throw them away. Is it clear? Dispose them in a proper way where the mosquitoes can the water cannot be stored there, and so that the mosquitoes cannot breed. Is it clear to children? Then people are now using to avoid the mosquito bite. The people are going to use mosquito nets. Mosquito nets, so that we can avoid the bite from mosquitoes. Is it clear to children? Then next one is said to be here mosquito repellents. Mosquito repellents like All Out. Is it clear to so many advertisements you will be observing in TV, no children? Of different mosquito repellents. So we are going to put on them. So if we put on switch, then that smoke will come where it is getting, it is making the mosquitoes to become unconscious like. Is it clear to you? They get suffocated and they are going to die. So use of mosquito repellents. So these are all if we follow like to control malaria disease, we have to control the mosquito population. So we have to spray kerosene on the stagnated water. Before that, we should never allow stagnated water on the roads or in our houses also, like old coconut shells or tires or pots, etc. Okay, then we can use mosquito nets, best one. So once if we purchase mosquito net, then at night time whenever we are sleeping, if we use that mosquito net, then it will be not allowing mosquitoes to come and bite us. Then mosquito repellents we are going to use. So if we follow all these, we can control the disease called malaria, whichever is a dreadful disease. If it is in blood, okay, we can get cure. But if it reaches the brain, we call it a cerebral malaria, where the people are going to become mentally retarded. So that problems to avoid, we have to control the mosquito population, which are responsible for spreading of malaria disease. Is it clear to children? Then for that entire work, that malarial parasite life cycle and mosquitoes are responsible. So that entire work was done by Dr. Ronald Ross. So he was awarded Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize in 1902. 1902, Dr. Ronald Ross awarded a Nobel Prize. Is it clear to children? So like that other diseases are also there, like filariasis is also spread by Culex mosquito, female Culex mosquito. Is it clear to you? Then Aedes mosquito is responsible for the spread of chikungunya. So like that, so many pathogens are going to be transmitted from person to person through mosquitoes, which are acting as vectors. So if we control the vectors, if we keep our surroundings very much clean, so you know that cleanliness is next to godliness. If you are maintaining cleanliness, everyone will be healthy. Is it not, children? So if we maintain all the cleanliness in our surroundings, then we will be free from the diseases. Is it clear to you? So whichever is caused because of these pathogens. So now we will learn about some of the harm which we are getting from the microorganisms tomorrow. Is it clear to children? Tomorrow we will learn about some other diseases which we are going to get through other microorganisms. Is it clear to you?